today to talk about whatever you have going on, whatever health condition you have going on. And I would love to answer those questions. Put them down below. Let me know where you're watching from. Would love to give you a shout out. And there we go. What can I do for my girlfriend having Crohn's disease? She has terrible pain with it. Hey, Michelle. So, Jackie. Uh, here's the deal. If you have Crohn's disease, this is an autoimmune disease. This is not just a gut disease. This is an autoimmune disease. Anybody else have autoimmune disease? Put a heart down below and let me know if you've got autoimmune. And then put the number of autoimmune diseases you have. So many people have multiple autoimmune diseases. So Crohn's, now you've got to think about two things. You've got to think about healing the gut, but you've got to think about calming down that autoimmune reaction. So I've got tons of videos on YouTube, like 60-minute long videos talking about autoimmune. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you can get in depth in there. But just to give you a summary and a synopsis of what needs to happen, you need to look at autoimmune and go, okay, we've got adrenals, we've got blood sugar, we've got vitamin D, we've got leaky gut, we've got infections, environmental toxins, food allergies, hormones, all of these different things. You've got to now start figuring out which systems are causing this autoimmune disease in the first place. So absolutely great question there. Crohn's disease, it's a scary one, but you can definitely get better in there. Hey, in Trinidad and Tobago, Marty, good to see you. And we've got Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Yeah, Christy. So Hashimoto's. Anybody else have Hashimoto's? Give me a heart there, so I know how many people. Hey, Timothy. What's up, Doc? I'm feeling better on week 6 with F8, getting out with friends again. Timothy, that is awesome. One of our star patients here. So Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disease. And so it's the same thought process as what we were just talking about with Crohn's. Hashimoto's, you will never fix Hashimoto's by taking levothyroxine. You'll never fix Hashimoto's by taking Synthroid. Any type of thyroid medication will not help Hashimoto's at all. That'd be like if you have rheumatoid arthritis and your doctor says, hey, we're going to give you levothyroxine. That's crazy. Nobody would do that. Or they'd say, "Oh, we're going to give you levothyroxine for your MS." No, that's not what fixed my mom. It was going through each and every one of these systems that allowed her body to heal and reverse her MS. And that's what you need to do with your Hashimoto's. You need to change that thought process to one of what is causing this autoimmune reaction in the first place. So again, put down where you guys are watching from. Love to give you a shout out, and any questions. This is open. Maybe politics I'll try to stay away from, but otherwise any health questions at all. If you have Hashimoto's, you probably need to take your levothyroxine or whatever hormone it is, but that will never fix it. So you can go deep here and really figure out why it's actually going on. We've got Nashville, Tennessee, Crooked. Awesome. We've got an office in Brentwood. Dr. Ben Gallagher, F8wellcenters.com. And we've got offices in Colorado as well as Tennessee. And we work remotely with patients all over the country. But yeah, if you're in Nashville, come see us in Brentwood. I have plaque psoriasis. So any type of psoriasis, it's an autoimmune disease as well. Your body is in this immune inflammatory process. Hey, Patricia, good to see you. And so any type of psoriasis, whether it's psoriatic arthritis or anything like that, you've got to think about it as an autoimmune disease, and each system that is out of balance that drives that immune inflammatory process. So what do I mean by that? Blood sugar is one of those. If your blood sugar is swinging too high, too low, too high, too low, and it is not steady like this, then every time it spikes up, you're going to get a glucose and insulin surge in the body, and both of those are inflammatory. Psoriasis, yeah, Barbara, same thing. Psoriasis is what we're talking about. You're getting this immune inflammatory spike every time that insulin and glucose goes up, and then every time the blood sugar crashes down, the adrenals kick in, tell the liver to release glucose, and then it stimulates that immune system again. Give me this. Hey, Kate, thank you so much for those little funny guys. Big love heart. Thank you. Give me a heart, guys, if you are dealing with any type of random anxiety, put random anxiety or anxiety down below and just see how many people are dealing with that. So if you are dealing with random anxiety, not just like, oh, I'm anxious 24/7, but random, it hits and comes and goes, then think about this. You are probably going hypoglycemic, and there's probably a low blood sugar state that you're getting into that is driving this anxiety state. So if that's the case, do not let your blood sugar get too low. That's why every one of our patients that we work with, they get a continuous glucose monitor. You slap that on the back of your arm and you figure out exactly what is going on. All right, we've got Patricia. How do you test for food allergies? Watching from Montana. We usually don't. We usually just do elimination diet, bring foods back in, and we're able to see what works for people and what doesn't. The problem with a food allergy test, if you have not done any work with your leaky gut, it will show up a lot of different things, either stuff that you're eating a lot of, or even some random foods like cod and Brussels sprouts and stuff that you may not be eating at all. So food allergy test, it has its place, but it's really not a foundational part of what we do. Stephanie, I got a concussion 5 years ago and have had a headache every day since. I've tried everything watching from Parker, Colorado. Stephanie, come over to our Highlands Ranch office ASAP. It's 10 minutes away from you guys. Well, depending on traffic, it's probably 10 miles away from you, depending on traffic. But come over, get a brain map done, get blood work done. Come see Dr. Katie and Coulter and Avery and the whole team there, and they will take care of you. And I guarantee you will figure out some reasons why you're having a headache every day. We can do neurofeedback. We can do a lot of different things that can be helpful for that concussion and help those headaches go away. So, Stephanie, Brittany, if you can put a link, Stephanie's on YouTube, if you can give her a link, or you can go to f8wellcenters.com and go to the Denver Highlands Ranch page, and we'll do that. So we've got Australia here. Good to see you. Is olive oil, cayenne pepper, and lemon good to detox your liver? Seeing loads of people doing. It's going to potentially purge your gallbladder. It's going to, lemon's nice for some different things, but it's not going to detox your liver. Hey, Penny and Grace, Nashville area. Great to see you. Come see us in Brentwood. And normal low A1C with random sugar spike at 560. No one was able to explain. Yeah, Christina. So here we go. Normal to low A1C means that your average is okay, but you're having blood sugar spikes. So that means you're also crashing down. So if you know your blood sugar is going up, then you're also going down. It's like this. If you're driving someplace and it's going to take you 4 hours and you get pulled over going 95 miles an hour, but you tell the police officer, hey, I'm going to average 4 hours and 60 miles an hour because I'm stopping 3 times. So I'm just going 95 right now, but I'm going to average 60 miles an hour. So it's okay. That's not going to fly. So what's going on is you've got to also be having lows if you're having spikes. So get a continuous glucose monitor. If your doctor won't give you one, let us know and we will throw one on you. Absolutely. Lupus, patty cake, same thought process, autoimmune. So autoimmune doesn't matter. 190 named autoimmune conditions, third leading cause of death when you lump them all together. If you have one autoimmune condition, you have multiple. So if any of you guys have Hashimoto's, I almost guarantee you have additional autoimmune diseases going on. So you need to fix the why. Don't just take levothyroxine. You probably need to take it, but don't just settle for taking levothyroxine or some type of medication. Hashimoto's #1 most common autoimmune disease in the United States. Top 7, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, celiac, type 1 diabetes, Crohn's disease, and Hashimoto's is #1. So you've got to fix blood sugar, adrenals, leaky gut, all of these different things. Kathy in Illinois, my daughter has many different issues, wondering if you have any way to speak directly about those issues. Yeah, absolutely. She can always do you can send us a DM, send us an email. She can schedule a complimentary consultation with a doctor. You can do a discovery call with one of our team members. Barbara, where's your office? So we've got office in Fort Collins, Colorado, in Highlands Highlands Ranch, Colorado, and in Brentwood, Tennessee, which is in Nashville. What are some things you can do to detox from mold exposure? One, Candy, you've got to get rid of the mold in your house, in your business, whatever it is. You can't just keep being exposed to it. There's no amount of detox that you can do from that. But from there, you need to do some binders. So look into different nutrients that are going to bind to that. And let's go here. If you guys have not followed us already, follow us on TikTok. We're going to hit 280,000 followers today, probably. On YouTube, 800 different videos on YouTube. Instagram, over 40, almost 45,000 followers on there. Tons of information out there. Facebook, we've got multiple pages and lots and lots of information. So if you've not followed us, do that already. And if you know somebody that has health issues and needs support, share our pages. That's my goal in life, is to get this message out, is to help functional medicine become the standard of care. That we start here. We don't start with spending $100,000 on all these random things, but we start with the basics. Hashimoto's post-thyroidectomy, how does that affect the body? Also have psoriatic arthritis. So here's the deal. So Hashimoto's is autoimmune thyroid. You have your thyroid removed. It does nothing to stop why you had an autoimmune disease in the first place. So what does that mean? Well, now you have psoriatic arthritis. That's another autoimmune disease. You probably have lupus. You probably have other autoimmune diseases. So you've got to take a step back and think about it here. How do you fix these underlying imbalances? And here's the question, guys. Why do so many people, look at all the comments down below, why do so many people have these autoimmune conditions? It is rampant. What about excessive sweating, even when I'm not working out or doing anything? It's probably, if any of you guys are having sweating episodes, it's probably an adrenal issue. It could definitely be from that blood sugar crashing down, causes the adrenals to spike up, and can cause some major issues there. And had mold remediation, waiting on a test to come back to see if they got it all. Thank you. Yeah. So now you got to start on the binding and help that body detoxify. All my blood work came back fine. I have very high blood pressure though. Here's an interesting story. My kid's youth pastor, he's in his 30s, and his blood pressure was like 215 over 120. And I mean, pretty healthy guy, exercised, did a bunch of stuff, but his blood pressure was really high. And this was actually post-COVID. And so we ran blood work, really not that bad, but we did what's called a brain map, a quantitative EEG, and found that his brain was in this exaggerated, revved up state, and a little bit more on that anxiety side. We started doing neurofeedback, and the first night that he did neurofeedback, he sent me a text and he was 150 over 90. First time it had been that low in months and months. So there's probably a brain component if the blood work is looking good. Do you help women with amenorrhea and PCOS issues? Christy, absolutely. So PCOS, give me a heart, give me a like if any of you guys are dealing with PCOS. Or any of the consequences of that, high testosterone, chin hairs, things like that. PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, you're getting these cysts on the ovaries, but your ovaries are also overproducing DHEA and testosterone. The underlying root cause of that is insulin resistance. Underlying root cause of insulin resistance is going to be what you're putting in your mouth, the food, the drink. So every one of our patients with PCOS, they use a continuous glucose monitor, goes on the back of the arm, and you're able to see consistently what that blood sugar is doing, start detoxifying the liver, make sure it's clearing things out like it needs to, and you get to see miracles every single day with PCOS and those type of issues. Your hormonal cycle can come back. Christy, send me a DM, send me an email, whatever you want to do, and I will let you know what you need to do there. And I have not had any diagnosis, but have symptoms and deal with a lot of what you're talking about. Yeah. So here's the deal. You don't need to have a diagnosis and go, oh, I'm diabetic, I've got autoimmune, whatever it is. You need to have a discovery of which systems are out of balance. This is not to diagnose the autoimmune disease. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what body tissue is being attacked. What matters is the systems that are driving that. That is the most important part. So don't get stressed about finding the diagnosis. Ooh, they finally told me I have fibromyalgia. Anybody been told that? Anybody been told they have fibromyalgia? Put fibro down below or give me a heart. And I'm going to call BS on that, because fibromyalgia is not a real disease. Fibromyalgia is a lump diagnosis, just like IBS is not a disease. IBS is a lump diagnosis. Chronic fatigue syndrome is a BS diagnosis because it's not a true disease. It's a lump diagnosis. So great, now you've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia or IBS or whatever, but it's not going to fix anything. Cynthia, I have low blood sugar but not diabetic. Is this normal? So I just had a lady yesterday. Anybody taking Wegovy or Ozempic or any of those drugs? I had a lady yesterday. She was on Mounjaro for 4 months. Her A1C came back at less than 4.3. Like, we don't even know how low it was, but that's the point of those drugs, is to get insulin released so that it can pull your glucose down. And so if you are already going hypoglycemic or getting hangry, things like that, that would be one of the last drugs I would want somebody to go on, because it is going to cause some significant issues there. And I just went to my doctor about this, and now I have to check my sugar and get a fasting next week. So here's the deal, Tara. We actually test all of our patients non-fasting. We have our patients all over the country, all over Canada, go to LabCorp and different labs to get their blood drawn. And the techs that are drawing the blood, they're like, oh my gosh, and yet we see so much. Yesterday, this is a true story. Yesterday, I had a patient, 1:30 in the afternoon, her glucose was down at 60. I don't like it below 85, and she was down at 60 in the middle of the day randomly. And this is why we do it, because if she would have done a fasting blood test, it probably would have been fine. The body would have adapted to it and it would have been fine, but that's not the whole story. Her insulin was actually high as well. So over the next hour, she probably would have gone in the 50s, even the 40s on there. So you have to look at your blood work non-fasting. You want to run your A1C. Yes, doesn't matter on that one, but you got to run your glucose, your ferritin, your GGT, all of these different markers, and that is how you start getting to see the underlying root causes. I'm fighting with thyroid problems and big weight gain. So Tucci, if you are dealing with Hashimoto's, you're not fighting a thyroid problem, you're fighting an autoimmune problem. You're fighting an autoimmune disease that has attacked the thyroid, and you've got to deal with that and probably take some thyroid medication, but you have to fix that, the reasons why you have an autoimmune disease. Is there a test to see, is Cyrex 5 array? Yeah, I love Cyrex. They've got an autoimmune test. So if you're looking at Cyrex, C-Y-R-E-X, Cyrex Labs, they've got some of the best tests out there. Dr. Karazian is amazing. And what happens is you are able to see, I think it's like 50 tissue antibody test. I've run it on patients. It's pretty cool. I've seen antibodies to brain tissue. I've seen it to the spinal cord, all of these different things. It's pretty cool. Andrea, I have gastroparesis, but I think it's just a symptom of something else. Absolutely. Anybody know what gastroparesis is? Gastroparesis is throwing up every day or multiple times a day. It's horrible. Can you imagine? So say a little prayer for Andrea here. She's got gastroparesis. Andrea, we just know that there's healing potential in you. You've got this. I've got patients. I've got one patient at the Highlands Ranch location. 10 years she was vomiting every single day, and we got her to where she doesn't throw up anymore. I've got another patient, just talked to her last night, 4 years that she was throwing up every day in Cheyenne, Wyoming, every day. And so we got them to where they're no longer throwing up. They feel great. But what's the difference? What's the thing? Yes, it is just the symptom of something else. So you've got to dig deep. You've got to figure out why somebody is throwing up every day. Is it the microbiome? Is it the valves aren't closing and opening like they're supposed to? Is your peristalsis not working? Are you in a chronic fight or flight and you can't rest and digest and fight or flight at the same time? So you've got to dig deep there. So, hey guys, there's like hundreds and hundreds of questions on here that I'm not going to get to. Send me a DM. Send me an email, schedule a discovery call. You can do anything you want in there to get a hold of us and ask those questions. And let's go here. Encourage more viewers to share. Yeah. So yeah, I forgot, guys. Thanks. So share this page. Do what is considered too low on blood sugar. So Christy, two ways to look at this. If you just run your fasting glucose level, you're probably not going to see it. But I would definitely want you over 80, maybe even 85 on your fasting blood sugar. But here's what you need to look at. Your A1C is the average of your last 3 months. If that's 5.0 or below, you're averaging hypoglycemic. If you start poking your finger and do random glucose tests and you see under 80, 85, it's too low. If you get a continuous glucose monitor, put it on the back of your arm and start seeing that and start seeing those dips, then absolutely it is too low, and that revs up. That's going to cause random anxiety. It's the number one stressor to the adrenal glands is going to be those low blood sugar. Okay, lots of muscle twitches and tingling since COVID, the first time in 2020. Normal magnesium and thyroid. Any suggestions? Yeah. Ashley, my concern is that this could turn into POTS or some other weird neurologic condition. So I would do a full blood workup. That's what we do, looking at hormones, inflammatory markers, all types of things. Looking at adrenals, yeah, they're definitely. I've seen a lot of people, even with POTS. If any of you guys have POTS or know people with POTS, that definitely has an adrenal component, and we need to work on that. Fasting with type 2 diabetes. Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of intermittent fasting for people that have hypoglycemia, for people that have adrenal fatigue, for people that are really stressed out. But I do like intermittent fasting for people with really high blood sugar and that have type 2 diabetes that way. I'm in St. Louis. Kate, hey, I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado right now, but we have offices in Nashville as well as Colorado, and we work remotely with people all over the country. Hey there in Indiana, we've had tons of patients from Indiana go down to our Nashville. What is a brain map? A brain map is a quantitative EEG. We put the cap on the head. It's like an EKG of the heart, and we're able to detect the electrical activity of what's going on in the brain. 2013, the FDA approved it as a diagnostic tool, meaning you can actually diagnose ADD off of a brain map. But we can see anxiety, depression, insomnia, Asperger's, Alzheimer's. You can look at autism, all types of different things. And then once you get that brain map, or if you can't do the brain map in office and you can't get to one of our locations, we've got questionnaires that mirror those very well. Then you do neurofeedback. You can do neurofeedback in office or remotely. We've got home neurofeedback units. Just an example, I've got a little 4-year-old girl. She's actually 5 now, but 4 years old last year. She came in nonverbal, autistic, just beautiful little smiley little thing. And we did neurofeedback in about 2 months. She was talking. She was running down the hall. She was telling stories. She was replaying cartoons that she had watched, and a totally different person. The only thing that was changed was doing neurofeedback. It's pretty amazing. We've got it at every one of our offices. Blood work comes back, no autoimmune issues when I know I have 2. Well, Becky, they didn't run enough autoimmune tests. We already answered that one. Junk food is the reason for headache and migraines. Maybe. Maybe not. Can I do brain mapping as a virtual patient? So Cynthia, we would do a questionnaire that mirrors that brain map very well. If you can fly into Denver or to Nashville, we could do that brain map. But otherwise, we can do it off the questionnaire and then do the home unit. And And people, they get their sleep better, the anxiety goes away, so many different things can start changing. So great question. And my weight fluctuates up and down around 10 pounds or so, or kilograms. Some months I'm losing weight and then gain it. So Narnia. So here's the deal: if your weight is fluctuating, anybody weight fluctuates, give me a heart or give me a like there. If your weight is fluctuating up and down, bumping up and down a bunch, that is usually more about toxicity. That's more about inflammation, fluid retention, and so the body's solution to pollution is dilution. Write this down. The body's solution to pollution is dilution. So if your liver's not detoxifying like it needs to, if you're getting too many chemicals in, different things, then you are not going to be clearing that out like you need to. So again, guys, I'm not going to get to everybody's question, but keep putting them down below. I'm going to do my best. And then I want you to, if I don't get to it, send me a direct message, send me an email, schedule a discovery call, whatever you need to do. ANA was positive, however, the reflex panel negative for any autoimmune conditions, CRP normal. Guys, if your ANA is high, anybody have that? Anybody have high ANA? Put ANA down below if you've had a high ANA, especially if your doctor looked at that and said, you know what? It doesn't really matter. You don't have enough symptoms yet. Let's wait. Here's the deal. Yesterday, I had a patient. She's been Hashimoto's for quite a few years. Yeah, look at all these ANA people popping up. I had a patient yesterday. She had Hashimoto's for quite a few years. So we ran our full panel. We look at rheumatoid factor. We look at ANA. Her ANA was fine, but her rheumatoid factor, it's not supposed to be over 14. Hers was 101. And her doctor did not know this. Know what's ANA? It's an autoimmune marker for lupus and Sjogren's, things like that. And so if it's a routine marker for what we run. But here's the deal: if you have Hashimoto's, if you have an autoimmune disease like that, very, very likely you have multiple autoimmune diseases. And so you've got to take massive action and treat these underlying imbalances. Don't treat the autoimmune, you treat the underlying imbalances. Can you have a high ANA with Hashis? Probably 50% of you have a high ANA if you have Hashimoto's. And that's going to be lupus, mixed connective tissue disorder, Sjogren's, things like that. Hey guys, I got to jump. I got to shoot some B-roll for a TV show. But love seeing you guys, and I'm going to jump back on live later today. So look out for that beep that goes up and tells you when I'm going live. Follow our page, send me a DM, schedule a discovery call. If you want to book an actual appointment and save $200 on the blood work, you can click that link down below as well, and you can schedule that appointment. If you can come into the Denver or Nashville offices, awesome, do it. If not, let's work remotely together. Let's get your brain fixed. Let's get your body fixed. Let's get your body calmed down. And you can see amazing, amazing changes. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Take care.